So ladies and gentlemen, we now move into session 6, that is liability, negligence, and insurance. Throughout the day, we have discussed systems, SOPs, training, preparedness, and operational safety. But even with the best systems in place, risk can never be completely eliminated. To begin the session, we thought it was important to first hear from the most important stakeholder in adventure tourism, that is the adventure tourist. Ms. Komal Seth is director at Lincoln Reps and a well-known travel and tourism communications professional with extensive exposure to global travel brands, tourism boards, and experiential travel ecosystem. As an avid traveler and adventure enthusiast herself, she brings a valuable consumer perspective on what today's adventure tourist truly expects. May I invite Ms. Komal Seth to share an adventure tourist perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Komal Seth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. There are very rare times that we feel when we are called on this stage to talk about something which is so deep and close to your heart. We've spoken on many forums in the travel industry. We get opportunities to speak at a lot of places. We have a lot of associations we are called. But today I personally feel that it is an achievement that I'm not called as a professional, but I'm called as a person who's done a lot of research, booked adventure holidays, and within the small community that I may have of maybe 100 or 150 people who ask me, where did you travel and how did you book? I'm very passionate about adventure tourism, and more than that, I'm very passionate about keeping our country and environment very clean, because I think charity begins at home, and we as a community, as travelers, we really need to take care of the places that we are going to, and while we promote them, we don't exploit them. Very recent, I went on a trip to Himachal in a small village, which incidentally had a resort, which I put on my Instagram. And one of my friends who's well-traveled in Europe, well-traveled in the US, travels business class, she asked me, how was your trip? मेरे को भी adventure tourism करना है. So I replied to her, I'm sure, sure, go ahead. We should travel within India. And she's like, how many room nights and how was the food? I realized that when it comes to adventure tourism, these are actually technically the wrong questions that we are asking. We first need to understand what kind of questions as tourists, as travelers, we need to ask our travel consultants, our friends who are traveling. Her basic question was, how many room nights? Three room nights sahi rahega? Or is the food good? And I said, no, that's not the question you should be asking me. You should be asking me, what kind of clothes do I need to carry? What kind of shoes are required? Do I need to be careful of the environment that I'm living in? Do I need to give back to it? But I realized that was a wrong audience, and we need to build that audience. And then I had a couple of questions which I keep writing on my phone when I travel, and because this is the opportunity today, and we are sitting in the focal point of people who actually promote adventure tourism, who promote our country, I also want to highlight a fact. We did a trip to Georgia, 2 girls. We took up some adventure activities there, and I promise I felt that I was much safer in India, and the kind of techniques, the safety measures that we follow in India are very good. And something that was very important, and that what I got back was, when we were in Georgia, I asked them, while I travel a lot, I asked them, I hope the harness is correct, and I hope it'll be all safe. The person only had one thing to tell me. Everything is written in the manual, madam. Please check, tick, tick, tick. And I was trying to tell him that I've read the form, but I'm asking for human touch. I'm asking you, I'll be safe. Again, on a robotic mode, he answered, ma'am, everything is on the form. You will be safe. But in my heart, I never felt safe. cut this when we travel to Himachal, when we travel to Uttarakhand, when we travel to Kashmir. When I ask um, a person who's with me, who's guiding me, sir, kuch hoga to nahi? He always says, ma'am, kuch nahi hoga, hum aapke saath hain. And that's the biggest difference when we go by manual. We are in India, we are a country of heart, we are a country of assurance. And I think these are the facts that we might validate and harness on. Lot of, while I travel, there are a lot of foreign tourists who travel with us and we end up talking. They always tell us that we come back to India for surety, for hospitality, and also for, you know, the kind of extra services that the adventure sports offers us beyond the set itinerary, which also means um, just not prescribing Disprin, Crossin, or a syrup, but they will give alternate jari booties, they will give home remedies, they will give adrak water. So imagine we have so much that we can do in terms of hospitality. There's so much that we can do just with how we are raised, how we can welcome people, how we can assure people. I personally feel the game of manual is good because we have to follow the HR protocols, we have to follow the American system of being sued. But our biggest weapon and the strongest and the most emotional weapon is that we are a country of heart, we are a country of assurance, and we must continue doing that. Another point that I strongly feel is that what I see on Instagram is when people are going skiing in Switzerland, they have their big glares, they have their Christian Dior boots, they have the harnessing. So why can't we have collaborators? Why can't we promote adventure travel in India in form of luxury? Because at the end of the day, the real money is in luxury. The real money is when people don't negotiate hard. We were recently doing a marketing campaign because that's the job that I do. And we were talking to Decathlon. The top management was with us because we are doing some advertisement promotion with them. And I did ask them that, because I'm into adventure, I book travel myself. I don't go through online platforms. I do book through human touch. I asked him that, so why don't you do joint collaborations with our Indian travel industry? Why don't you do some, some kind of collaboration? He said there's a big gap. We don't know how to perform there. And I don't know how to code this over here, but because it's a closed forum, and he did say that they want to do a lot. They have a lot of avenues, but they don't know how to do the right kind of collaborations in India. So as a marketer and as a young person who travels within India, being a woman, I feel very safe. But I would be very, very happy if stronger brands like Fitbit or Whoop or Decathlon are promoting adventure tourism. It just gives us a different kind of kick. The truth is that when we have bigger collaboration brands associated with an itinerary, it automatically gets a kick. And as an industry, we must do that. There are outbound tour operators, there are domestic tour operators, and they are absolutely commercializing what they do. They know the jargons of marketing. And I think it is time that ATOAI also gets into the next step where we as consumers see more branding, more awareness, and most importantly, when I started my career again in advertising, we used to have so many joint promotions with state tourism boards only for domestic packages. Why can't we have those promotional packages only for adventure tourism? Create jingles. I remember the MP tourism jingle, which I may not be able to pronounce correctly, but it still stays in my mind after 17 years of its launch. It says, Jungle dekho, Hathi dekho, Chuha dekho, Khajrao dekho. And the way the jingle went, it still rings a bell in my ear. Why can't we have some really good jingle for each state of our country which resonates with adventure, where we use our Hindi terminologies. We were traveling recently and I said, there is a gadda ahead. And the American lady asked me, what do you mean? What is ahead? It took me 3 seconds. I said, oh, I mean pothole, pothole. There's a pothole ahead. We need to get into the ground realities of our own country. If we just encourage our own Indian audience to travel for adventure within our country, I don't think we need inbound tourism or we are dependent on inbound tourism. Um, Last but not the least, and I will go by the timeline, I think local experiences and tour and induction of local villagers as well as local population is something very important. When we go luxury, we go totally luxury and we cut off from the local human touch. This is what I feel as a traveler. We must continue doing that. We must make things expensive. We must make our packages expensive. We have to earn money, but we must inculcate on the fact that our strength lies in our people, our strength lies in the fact that India is very, very safe to travel, and the Indian adventure community is as well versed and in terms of safety and all the other measures as any other part of the world. It'll be a very proud day for me when a European comes and says to me while I'm on a trip that, you know, our trip in India was equally as good as our skiing trip in Switzerland. Thank you so much and all the best for all the small and good wins. Thank you.
Thank you, Komal, for sharing your perspective. We definitely need to take Indian adventure tourism all around. We will work towards it. Thank you so much.